Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Hannah and this is Jar of Fireflies. Here I make videos all about my life as an Orthodox Jewish homeschooling mother of 4. And today I'll be answering your questions. All right, folks, so recently we've been doing a bunch of these Q&As that all came from the same pool of questions that you guys submitted, I don't know, probably a month ago at this point, and we're nearing the end. Today is the last day of the series that I'm going to do. We weren't able to get to everything, but I think we definitely got to most. Okay, but before we get started, I want to give a big thank you to today's sponsor, Speakly. Speakly is a language learning app created by 2 polyglots who each speak 7 languages. They researched thousands of language learners for 6 years and then created a unique method that teaches words and phrases based on how often they're used in real-life situations. This means that you won't learn anything that you can't actually use to speak the language. Based on research, this allows you to learn languages 5 times faster than what you're accustomed to, which means getting from 0 to speaking skills in just around 3 to 4 months with just 30 minutes of practice a day. Speakly offers everything you need to learn a language. You'll learn new vocabulary, you'll have speaking exercises, writing exercises, listening comprehension exercises, and even music recommendations in the language that you're learning. This means that your studies never get boring and monotonous because there's so much to do and experience. Speakly is the only language learning app that actually lets you choose how you want to study new vocabulary. It offers a writing focus, multiple choice options, or a combination of both options for even more variety in your studies. Try it free for 7 days and get 60% off if you choose to join the annual subscription. Speakly is available on both web and mobile, so click the link that I've posted in the description box or in my pinned comment below to start learning some cool new languages today. All right, and now back to me. Let's start answering your questions. Okay, the first question that I have is, how often do people who have converted to Orthodox Judaism decide to leave the faith? Can you just decide that you don't want to be Jewish anymore? What would be the process if someone wanted to leave? Okay, so first of all, once you convert, you're Jewish, whether you decide to be a practicing Jew or not. You can't change that. Just like if you're born Jewish, you can't change that. Once a Jew, always a Jew. So as far as how many people decide to stop practicing after they convert, I really don't know. I've never seen a statistic on that or anything like that. I'm trying to think if I know anybody who's done that, and I guess not. Probably it doesn't happen super often because I know it takes a lot to become an Orthodox Jew, to go through a conversion like that. So can you just decide that you don't want to be Jewish anymore? No, you cannot just decide you don't want to be Jewish anymore. You could decide no longer to be a practicing Jew, but you couldn't decide to not be Jewish. You will always be considered a Jew under Jewish law. And as far as the process, if someone wanted to leave, there's no process because you're always a Jew. I mean, if you don't want to be a part of a community anymore, you would just stop being part of a community. You know, if you didn't want to be a practicing Jew, you would just stop practicing Judaism. But yeah, that's really it. Next question. How do interfaith relationships work with Orthodox Judaism and other Abrahamic religions? So I can't really speak to the other Abrahamic religions, but as far as Orthodox Judaism, you would probably not be able to get married as like have an Orthodox Jewish wedding if you were marrying somebody who wasn't Jewish. So that could be an issue. I'm not a rabbi, I don't know everything, but I don't believe that an Orthodox rabbi would perform a wedding for an interfaith couple. Okay, so the next part of that question is, would you be okay with your children having an interfaith relationship when they become old enough? Okay, so first of all, you're talking minimum 15 years down the road, so we're talking way in the future here. Would I be okay with it? No, I would not be okay with it. Yeah, I'm always going to love my children. I'm always going to welcome them into my home. Their significant other will be someone who is important to me because it's somebody important to my child. But do I want them to be in an interfaith relationship? No. All right, so the next question. If my husband wanted to move to Israel, how would I feel about that? I don't know. Right now, we don't have plans to move to Israel. Right now, we want to stay where we are. So if he just came and said, hey, I'd like to move to Israel, that would be a bit of a surprise, and I would want to know why. We would have to have a conversation about that. If he said, it's really important to me that we move to Israel right now, then we would do it. I would support what my husband wants, and if it was that important to him, we would totally do it. How would I feel about it? New adventure. It'd be a little bit scary because it's a new country. It's going into a place where everything's going to be written in Hebrew, and whereas I can speak some Hebrew, my Hebrew reading's not so quality. So there would be, a learning curve there, and people are just different in Israel. There's like a different attitude, a different way of being. They're different than folks here in America. Let me tell you this story. So when my husband and I first got married, I had learned a few words in Hebrew, and I learned how to say, I would like some water, ani rotza mayim, I want water. And so I would say at meals, I would try to speak my Hebrew a little bit. So I'd whisper to my husband because I was all embarrassed to speak in another language, and I'd be like, and like his sisters overheard me, and they're like, oh, that's so nice, your Hebrew is getting really good, but stop saying bavakasha because it makes you sound so American, because bavakasha is please, and they're not as, I guess, polite as Americans are, but you just don't need to be. I don't know. We have this conversation, my husband and I. If I tell him thank you for doing something, he's like, why are you thanking me? Of course I'm doing it. Like, I don't know. It's just a different attitude over there. So there would be some culture shock. But yeah, it would, I guess I would feel overall, yay, new adventure, but also like it's a little scary, just going somewhere new. All right, next question. Do you have full access to medical help if you find you're suffering from postpartum, past the baby blues stage, depression, after the birth of a baby? Yes, 100%. At any kind of depression or mental illness, we can absolutely go and seek treatment for any way that is best for us. Next question. What are the different ways you stay warm in the winter wearing skirts or dresses? So this question comes up over and over again over the years, so I'll go ahead and answer it again. I still wear skirts all year round, and what I'll do in the winter is I'll wear wool socks and I'll wear leggings, and that helps me to stay much warmer underneath my clothes. Now, I live in Texas, so it doesn't get super cold here usually. We actually hit a couple years ago, it went like below zero, and I went outside just to see what that felt like, and I was kind of like, yeah, no thanks, I'm going back in now. But yeah, pretty much that's how I do it. And I'll layer a lot, I'll put on like sweaters and things like that. So that helps. Okay, next question. What is everyone's favorite Yom Tov? Ooh, that's a good one. Okay, mine is probably Purim. I absolutely love Purim. The kids would probably say either Purim or Hanukkah. What would the kids say? Let me go ask them. I'll be right back. Okay, so I just ran out and asked the kids. My daughter said Purim. First she said Sukkot, and then she changed her mind to Purim. And then my youngest said Hanukkah, and then my oldest thought for a few minutes, but then he said Purim also. My favorite holiday is probably also Purim. So I love Purim. I love the dressing up. I love the party. I love just that it's just such a fun holiday. Yeah, Purim is great. Okay. If you don't know what Purim is, I will link in the description box below to some videos that I have made about Purim. Okay, next question. Oh, and my husband's favorite holiday? I have no idea. Something probably during the high holidays. He may like Simchat Torah best. I'm not sure. Now I gotta ask him later. Okay, next question. Are your other kids allowed to eat gluten if you go out to eat? Yes. Now, we don't go out to eat very often, but yeah, especially if my kid with celiac is not around, for sure. It was funny when my husband took my son with him to visit some family, I don't know, like last year sometime. Me and the other kids were like, let's go get donuts, and we're gonna go get this and pizza and this, and we went and got like all the gluten, and we just like got to where we didn't even want it anymore by the end of a couple of days. Okay, next question. Do you wear a wedding ring? I always wonder, does your hand seem bare, or is that not a thing with your religion, or is it a personal preference? Okay, it is a personal preference with me. First of all, my wedding ring, I wore it when we first got married, and then the first time that I got pregnant, it started to not fit, and it just really never fit again after that. And my wedding ring is actually a square shape, so I can't resize it. So I just keep it. I have an engagement ring, and so the same thing with that, it stopped fitting. It took us years to finally go and get that resized. We finally got it resized, and I wear it occasionally. I've actually been wearing it a lot more lately, like the past few weeks. I don't know why, I just feel like I want to wear it a lot, but normally I don't, because I'm usually, I'm cleaning, I'm doing things. I feel like I might scratch a kid with it. I get nervous about losing it, no. So I usually save it. Like, I wore it out last night to a party, I don't wear it very often. But yeah, it's totally a personal preference thing. It has nothing to do with my religion. Next question. What kinds of play, toy, activities are not allowed for kids on Shabbat? And from what age on do kids have to keep Shabbat and other religious rules? Okay, that's a big question. So the age that kids are required to start keeping Jewish law is when they reach the age of bar or bat mitzvah. Now, really, they do it before that, but that's the day that it becomes their personal responsibility and not like their parents' responsibility. Generally, when they're much younger, they start keeping everything. Like, my 4-year-old knows what he can and can't do on Shabbat. For me personally, when my kids are like 2 or younger, then I'll just say, hey, by the way, you can't do that on Shabbat. And then that's all that I say. I'm not gonna take something away from them or, make a big deal about it. I just tell them, and then they can make their choice. So what's not allowed on Shabbat is mainly just anything like toys with batteries. And we don't have a lot of those in our home, so that's really not too big of an issue for us. And then as far as other activities, there's a lot of things like turning on and off lights and things like that we don't do, but that's a whole other thing. If y'all are interested in a video where I go into more of these Shabbat rules, let me know and I can put that together for you guys. Okay, next question. Tell us about your dog. We have a dog. Her name is Bella, and we love her. We adopted her, and I will link to a video in the description box below about her adoption. Does the dog food have to be kosher too? No, the dog food does not have to be certified kosher, but we do purposefully buy dog food that doesn't have just totally trafe ingredients like pork or something, or cheese and meat together. Are there restrictions with having a pet and being Jewish? Yes, there are. There's not a ton. So for example, we have to feed our dog before we eat ourselves. So when I wake up in the morning, I'll go and feed the dog, and then I'll make my breakfast. Does he behave well on your Shabbats and holidays? Yes, Bella behaves very well during all of our holidays, including Shabbat. She loves it when we have people over, especially when we have a bunch of kids and they all go out in the backyard and they're all playing with her and she gets to run around with them. Yeah, she loves it. Now, I will say that Bella has come a long way. She used to not behave so well, especially when we had people over. But yeah, she is just a whole new dog now, which is fantastic. Next question. Were there differences in kosher, Passover, etc. between Ashkenazi and Sephardi Jews? And will you be having Ashkenazi guests? What will you do? Yes, there are a lot of differences during Passover for the food between Ashkenazi and Sephardi Jews. So for example, as a Sephardi Jew, I can eat rice during Passover and a whole lot of other things, but our Ashkenazi friends cannot. Now, they can still come and eat at our house, but they can't eat most of our food. So generally we just don't have Ashkenazi guests over to our house. Now we can eat anything that they can, so we can go to their houses. But generally during Passover, I don't like to go out to anybody's house, period. So as far as having Ashkenazi guests over, we really tried that once and we had to buy all this different food and we ended up not doing things right and then they couldn't even eat half of it because it was a whole new learning curve for us. So yeah, we just don't do that anymore. Now, I do purposely go and buy snacks for our Ashkenazi guests because we'll have people just stop by to hang out. So I make sure that I have some snack items for the kids that they'll be able to eat because they can't even really usually eat our snacks. All right, next question. Do you still watch any Christmas movies, even those that aren't religious? No, I don't. Next question. In risk of death, can a Jewish person eat non-kosher food? Oh yeah, totally. Okay, next question. Hello, I noticed that you wear a wig and a hair covering. Why a wig and not show your real hair? So my wig is a hair covering. It covers my real hair and that's what I need to cover. As a Jew, I'm not trying to hide my beauty or anything like that. I'm actually still supposed to look beautiful and feel beautiful. So if wearing a wig does that for me, then I am totally allowed to cover my hair that way. I actually just bought a new wig the other day and I can't wait for it to get here. Next question, what's been the best part of having baby Firefly around? Baby snuggles, obviously. He started smiling a lot now, so that is so much fun. He smiles at me like when I wake him up in the morning, he like looks up and gives me a big smile, and it's just the best. Okay, next question. I'm wanting to know what words Jewish people use in daily life. All right, so there are a few that I can think of. One is Baruch Hashem, and that's like saying thank God. So just you'll say it when something good happens or if someone asks you how you are. So it's like, hi, how are you? And the person will respond, Baruch Hashem, because whatever it is, it doesn't matter because we're very thankful to God for whatever it is. The next one that we use a lot, bli neder. So that means without a vow. So I actually try not to use this one at all because I just don't make promises to anybody. But you might say something like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go to the store later and I'll get you that cabbage that you needed, bli neder. So I'll say without a vow. So then if I don't do it for some reason, like if they don't have the cabbage there or something like that, then it's not such a big deal. It's not like I promised or made a vow that I was gonna do that and then I have to break the vow. I'm saying no, without a vow, I'll do that. So, and then the other one is b'li hara, and so that is like no evil eye. And so that's like you might say something to somebody like, "Oh, you look so beautiful today, b'li hara," you know, or like, "Oh my gosh, your baby's so cute, b'li hara," or "Wow, your daughter has the most beautiful eyes, b'li hara." So then when you're saying that, it's like, you know, no evil eye. Like I'm saying this genuinely. I don't mean any jealousy. I don't want any jealousy or, you know, no bad things should happen because I said this, you know. Okay, so those are a few that I could think of. All right, the next question. Do you feel like this will be your last baby or are you still hoping for more? All right, dude, I'm 41 years old right now, which means that the soonest that I could probably have another baby would be 42, which means that then I would be giving birth probably at 43, and eventually you just have to stop. As far as this being my last one, yeah, that's the plan. Plans don't always work out the way that we intend them to, so I mean, if there's an oops, it would be a very happy oops and I will be thrilled, but I don't plan to try. So you just never know. Do I want another? Yes. Oh my gosh, I really do. I actually really do want another, but I also feel like it's probably not a good idea. So, okay, the next question. I'm very curious about the Jewish Orthodox men and women clothing. Women typically wear skirts and not jeans or pants, but why is that so? So we look at pants as being men's clothes and skirts as being women's clothes. So I, as an Orthodox Jewish woman, would not wear men's clothing, which would be pants, and men would not wear women's clothing, which would be skirts. All right, so the next part of that was, would I be disrespectful to wear pants in a Jewish community as a non-Jewish woman? I don't think so, no. I mean, if you're gonna be attending services or a meal in someone's home for a holiday, something like that, I would definitely suggest dressing modestly because that would be respectful. But you can dress modestly with pants and still be respectful. You can also dress immodestly with pants and be disrespectful. So I would take more into account how modest your overall look is, but not necessarily the pants issue, so. Next question, how is Bella adjusting to the new baby? Bella's doing great. She's very curious still, and she definitely like comes running if the baby's crying. Like she wants to, you know, she's like, this is one of my people, you know? So yeah, it's super fun. Okay, the next question, what was your occupation before you converted? So I've had many jobs. My friends joke with me that I've had like every job that ever existed, but right before I converted, I was working in a nonprofit. That's what I did. I was a program director at a nonprofit. The next question, are you modern Orthodox or Chabad or some other form of Orthodox? I am some other form of Orthodox. Yeah, I definitely would not consider myself to be modern Orthodox. I am not Chabad. I'm Orthodox. I'm just Orthodox. I don't know. We're Sephardi. We don't put ourselves into boxes as much. Okay, the next question. Do I live in a Jewish community and what is that like? Yes, I do live in a Jewish community and it's fantastic. So that doesn't mean that everybody who lives in my community is Jewish. there's definitely a mix of all kinds of people that live here. But I do have a lot of Jewish neighbors, and that's fantastic. So if I need to go borrow something kosher ingredient, I can easily go do that from my Jewish neighbors. If I need to get help, I've got these friends nearby because we all go to the same synagogue, and then we're all living in the same neighborhood. So our kids are going to the same schools, or in my case, we're homeschooling together. So we really have this community, but then we're also living in the same areas. So we've basically created an intentional community unintentionally. Or intentionally. I guess it was intentional. Either way, I love it. I think it's fantastic. I love that I actually know this many of my neighbors because we do so many things together because of our religion. All right, the next question. Could I film on Shabbat if I set up a camera beforehand? I feel like this is a trick question. So first of all, I would not do that. I just wouldn't do it. I don't know specifically, like I feel like on like a basic level, that's probably technically okay to set up a camera and just exist around it. But I would feel really uncomfortable with that. Like that would not be, well, it wouldn't be enjoyable for me, first of all. And I feel like it just goes against all of the spirit of Shabbat. And then it may actually be a halakhic issue, a Jewish law issue, especially if I'm the one setting it up and doing it. And then what would I use the film for? Like I wouldn't be able to use the film for anything. If I was using it for work, then that's super not allowed at all. You know, if I was using it here for YouTube, that would not be allowed because we don't work on Shabbat. So that would definitely not be allowed. So yeah, could I film on Shabbat? I mean, maybe technically, but like, no, also no. Sorry, that's probably not the answer you were looking for. Okay, the last question. What was the hardest transition with having children from 0 to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, or 3 to 4? Okay, I love this question. Okay, so 3 to 4 was an easy transition for me. I feel like at this point, I'm just adding another kid in the mix. 0 to 1 is that's kind of its own tricky thing because you're going from never having children to having a child. But I feel like I adjusted pretty well to that. It wasn't too terribly difficult. 1 to 2 was a much harder transition for me. I suddenly felt like I was just kind of drowning with everything and I couldn't handle life at all the way that I used to be able to handle life. And that was a very hard transition for me. And yeah, probably that whole first year, I just kind of felt like I was drowning. From 2 to 3, that one was much easier than from 1 to 2. And that's just because I felt like I'd kind of gotten in my groove. And while it was still difficult because you're out of hands at this point with 3 kids, it still was like, I kind of knew more what to expect. And, you know, I reached that multiple kid stage. So yeah, for me, it was going from 1 to 2. Great questions. Oh my gosh, all of the questions were fantastic. And that is the end of the page of questions that I have. So I'm going to go ahead and close out the video here. Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed. It super helps my channel out a lot and lets me know what kinds of videos you guys enjoy seeing. And be sure to hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss any of my future videos. And don't forget to click that link in my description box below so you can check out Speakly and start learning a new language today. And with that, we're calling this a close. Thank you all so much for being here. As always, I super appreciate it. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will see you in my next upload. A thumbs up, and why can I not get the next words out of my mouth? It's a really loud plane. Really loud. Goodbye, plane. Trying to film a video. Please don't wake up my baby. Here's my paper. Next question. How do interfaith relationships blah 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 blah. Hello. Okay. Next question. When you say that, you're saying, what am I saying?